My 26 boyfriend, 27, doesn't want a compromise proposal. Need advice. We have been together for 5 years now, and have been living together for 2. We both are very committed. We have never broken up, and always work to mend issues in our relationship when they come up. We are both very serious and vocalize that we want to be together forever. Before moving in together, we agreed to get married within a year later, and that hasn't happened. Now he's saying that he's not ready and thinks it doesn't matter if it's as soon or not. I disagree. I moved across the country for us to be together, and I want that security of engagement, then married. I tried to talk to him about it and expressed how I'd like for it to happen within a year. He would prefer for it to happen within the next 3 years. Now he's saying he feels pressured when I bring it up, which to me isn't fair, because before moving in together, he was really excited to take the next step. Also, I have a lot of guilt leaving my family to be with him, and I feel like it's not fair. He says that the decision of the timeline to propose is only his decision, which I feel like is very one-sided. I think it should be a compromise. What do you guys think? Too long? Don't render proposals a compromise, or do the men have the sole decision on when to propose? This might not be a perspective you want to hear, but I was in the same position with my ex. We were together for 3 years before we moved in together. I told him once we moved in, I wanted to be engaged and married in 2 years. We fought about it all the time. He felt it was unfair to have a timeline. I felt it was unfair that he agreed to something and then went back on it when the time came to put up. We had a huge fight about it, and I agreed to give it 1 more year. I got pregnant. Accident. He proposed a few weeks later and said that wasn't the reason. We kept putting off planning a wedding, and then we split up around when our kid had turned 2. Looking back, I wish I had left much sooner. It's important to be on the same page about big topics like marriage, and in my experience, if you can't find a compromise, someone is always going to end up hurt. And there really isn't a compromise, for I want to be married once we've lived together for a year, and we've been living together for 2 years, and I think I might be ready to get married within the next 3 years. It's a fundamental mismatch. You will probably end up resenting him a lot if you stay. Again, I wish I'd left sooner. I felt like I was starting over in my late 20s, but now, almost 3 years later, I don't regret it. I feel like I've finally learned how to be myself. What does he think will change in 3 years? Does he want something specific to happen, certain amount of money saved, to be a certain point of career, travel to a country? Does he want to wait until he's you is a certain age to be married / engaged? Does he think there's a specific problem that needs addressing in your relationship? Does he feel? If he can't pinpoint exactly why he wants to wait 3 years, you should reconsider this relationship. 5 years is long enough to figure out if you want to marry someone. This is a tough one. There are 2 big issues at play here. One, set an internal deadline and then stick to it. And 2, find out if he doesn't want to get married at all, or he just doesn't want to marry you. Issue 1. You've already busted your own boundaries and timeline. You were comfortable moving to be with someone who had the same relationship goals as you did. He told you he did. You trusted him. He wiggled out of it and with no real reason keeps trying to change the goalpost. It would be one thing if he told you needed to save up, folks, achieve your goal, reach age because of whatever internal conflicts, but he's super excited about marrying you, keeps the lines of communication around the subject open, etc. It would be like giving you that safety and commitment without necessarily actually getting married. But you guys would be on the same page, happy about moving forward. However, this doesn't seem to be the case. He shuts down every time you want to talk about it. He rolls his eyes when you bring up anything about what you'd agreed on. In short, he's acting anything but excited, and that is on him. On you, though, is how / why you feel like this is all there is. That is wrong. If you're doing mental math, like if I leave now, I'll have 3 years to find someone before I got 30, and then 2 to date. 1 to plan a wedding / live together. Two, to enjoy that then we have kids of our week's age, ... Leave. Seriously. Because then the only reason why you are staying is because you think this relationship better be worth the effort you've put into it, and it will, by God, yield the results you want. Oh, it won't. Instead of feeling like you're pressured into staying, or you're auditioning for the role, his wife, just leave. I guarantee you'll find someone else for whom you're not well. Yeah. I guess what the fuck he is. Tomorrow, City Hall. Let's go. So give yourself time to reflect upon how much time, money and energy you want to still put into this man, this relationship, and then stick to that internal deadline. When the deadline is up, you will be ready to walk. You'll have your own lease/place to live/mortgage. You'll have enough money to absorb everything yourself, and you'll be walking. Oh, but you just ruined his proposal because he was going to do it soon. Lie. Oh, he was ready to give you his aim. People that love you don't string you along. Issue 2. Does he ever want to get married? And does he want to marry you? It might be that with time and maturity and living life he's uneasy about getting married in general. In fact, truth be told, he doesn't see himself married when he envisions his life in 10 years, or he sees himself partnered, but not married. Cool. Could you live with that? Happily. Stay. Grow up with each other. You might be one of those couples who is together for 25 years and then ties the knot. But what if he does want to get married? But he's not sure about you anymore. What if the thought he did, but now he doesn't? What if you're his do for now? What if he's waiting for life to go on, and then he finds someone, and then he'll just know, I'm sorry. I don't mean to inflict pain. I know you've thought about this a lot, and I'm trying to verbalize/language what has already gone through your head. Ask him, press him. A fight will come later, and the truth will come out. You'll know where you stand. I waited for a guy once. I was ready, and he wasn't. I loved him. He loved me, but our life goals were not aligned at the time. He felt pressured. I did push the subject, and I felt like I was giving my all, and he was still reserving himself for what or whom. One day he proposed, but then told me we should wait to tell people super red flag redders. Because whatever. Long story made short. That was not the guy I married, and I thank my lucky stars every day that he hemmed and hawed and dragged his feet, because if he hadn't, we might have gotten married. Then divorced. We were incompatible in ways that I didn't understand in my 20s. I learned my lessons very well. If it's not fuck is, then it's a soft no, and inaction is still a decisive action. Every month that goes by that your boyfriend does nothing is one where he decides to not do anything. Decides in knowing fully well that he's in breach of what was previously agreed upon. And you, my dear, decide to stay too. You have time to decide, but decide for yourself. Hold yourself accountable for everything. The trying harder, because what will you tell people back if it doesn't work out? The trying harder so he sees what a great wife you'll make, and getting tired and resentful when he doesn't. The decision to let him decide your future without your input being validated or taken into consideration. Every day that you stay after today, remind yourself that you are deciding to be with him. Who knows, one day a stray thought might make it into your head like, oh, maybe I could decide something different for myself. Ita, for the love of all that is holy, do not cozen anything with him. No joint car purchase, no joint mortgage, nothing. It's a fucking Peter to divorce someone without all the legal protections that an actual divorce provides. Do not tie your credit score or financial future to someone who is not ready for legal entanglements. Marriage is way more than just a paper.